request to all the participants and to others to just mute your microphones from mind. Yeah. Good evening, and it is indeed a pleasure to see you all on this fine evening. And I welcome you all on behalf of Alpha Researchers Academy and STEPS Education Center. So I'm glad that we are just starting off this IELTS introductory session in collaboration with STEPS. So before we begin this session, let me very briefly for 5 minutes introduce the speakers, and then the focus will exactly be on IELTS. So let me very briefly give you a quick cameo of all the trainers who are today here with us. The session to start with Mr. Rahul. Rahul finished his both his undergraduation and post-graduation at Madras Christian College, and he also completed his Bachelor's of Education, and he has been in the educational sphere for more than a decade now, not only in India but also abroad. So he has worked in the Middle East, so he has a lot of exposure and experience that he brings to the table. And what makes him an appropriate fit for IELTS is because he is a British Council certified IELTS trained the trainer. So which makes him a great fit to be with us and to set the context for today's discussion. And then we have Mrs. Aruna, who completed both her undergraduation and post-graduation at Stella Maris and did her MPhil at Lila. And she too has been in the higher educational landscape for nearly 15 years. And in fact, she has been not only in the higher education, but he was also associated with top universities like the Crescent University. And she was also a program officer at IIT Madras, Indian Institute of Technology. And she has been an NPTEL coordinator. And what makes Aruna a great fit for this IELTS Train the Trainer program is because she is an OET trainer. She, this was just certified by the British Council. She's a speaking examiner, apparently. So that makes her a great fit to train this kind of programs like IELTS Train the Trainer. And then we have with us Mr. Hussain, who is also an MCCN as well. He did both his undergraduation and post-graduation at Madras Christian College, and he has vast experience of more than 3 decades, especially abroad overseas. He has worked very much in the Middle East. He has been to places like Birmingham and places like London. So he has a kind of an international exposure, and he is very good at both Canadian, British, and American accents because he has worked in the IT sector for all top-notch companies. So which makes him a great fit. So this is a brief cameo about the speakers that we have today. And we have other speakers in our academy, other trainers in our academy who have the kind of benchmarks that you expect and benchmarks to deliver the course effectively. So we have people who are IELTS certified and business English certified trainers as well. So this is a little bit of cameo about our training. And let me just take another 2 minutes of yours before we set the ball rolling as to why you can enroll for an IELTS at or Alpha Universal Researchers Academy in collaboration with STEPS. So why should you do that? Because today we see a lot of people running these kind of IELTS classes, but to run an IELTS successfully, to meet up with the benchmarks of the examination, to deliver what the customers really want and help them to clear the examinations with the top band, you need people who have understood the subtle nuances, the art of training. So the people whom I had referred to and the other people in the academy have the art of training the candidates. So which makes Aura a great fit. So we have 2 centers, both offline coaching as well as online coaching. And we have also courses which can be delivered according to the person's needs, one-to-one, or whatever your requirement is, you can just mail us. So we don't follow an one-size-fits-all approach to teaching. we require know your requirements and deliver accordingly. So my final remark is we have both our offline campus as well as our online training. Offline we have at Guduanjeri Main Steps Academy. There you can enroll for your IELTS, and we have very near to SRM University as well. But if you prefer online, you can just drop in a mail and our trainers will tell you more about that. So this is a brief cameo about who we are and how our trainers are professionally equipped to handle this IELTS course. So let's set the ball rolling, and let me hand over to the first trainer. So it's a kind of a systematic introductory class. It's not a kind of a promotion per se. So it's a very systematic introduction. And then if you feel that you are interested in the course, depending on the requirements, you can approach us and we will be glad to help you to get the desired bandwidth, whether you would like to go abroad or whether you would like to work abroad, or just to, if you would like to take your communicative competency to the next level, or if you would like to really carve a niche for yourself in your field. So regardless of your needs, so we will be here to serve you. So let me tell you, IELTS is not only for people who have an inclination to go abroad, but it's also for people who would like to take the language to the next level. With these few remarks, I would like to hand over the session to the trainers. Over to you, Mr. Rahul.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Request.
Yes.
If it's possible, it's my wish, whether if you can please self-introduce yourself so that the participants will be aware of.
The part, yes, more familiar faces, but however, since the request to introduce myself, see, I am associated with Kumar, present in also an integral part of research and I will train the trainer, and besides that, I have courses like Certificate of Advanced English and Certificate of Proficiency. Importantly, I have British Council. So most recorders. Yeah. Thank you very much, sir, for asking me to introduce myself. So with these few to the trainers, I just hand over now, set the context for our course that is coming up in future. So thank you everybody, and over to you, Mr. Rahul. Rahul?
Rahul? Yes, sir. Yeah, fine. So,
are you there, Rahul?
Yes, sir. Am I?
Yes,
am I
Rahul, you are.
audible? Yeah, thank you. Yes.
Yes, you are audible. You are audible. Yeah.
So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is immense pleasure in welcoming you all to this free introductory course on IELTS. And thank you, Vijay Kumar, sir, for giving such a wonderful introduction. And thanks to Steps Academy for collaborating with us. And as part of ARA, when we just went through all the forms of the participants, we had a chance to ponder over the various questions that was asked by the participants. So one promise that I can lay down over here is, participants, we have ensured that the entire program will be such a way that it could answer all your queries. So here we go, with your permission. So now I have listed down some of the very important questions that has been raised in the minds of all the participants. So like, what is IELTS, why do you need it, and what is the format, and how to prepare for the IELTS. So now, just to give a quick run through the design, I will be just giving a quick nutshell on the first three questions. And the last question is where all the trainers are going to give you a kind of a valuable introduction into their skills. So to begin with, what is IELTS? Now, moving on to the next slide. So IELTS is an acronym So people who are aware of the word abbreviation, the word acronym is an abbreviation that could be pronounced. Now, we don't say it as IELTS, we say it's IELTS. So what does IELTS stands for? It is International English Language Testing System. So as the name suggests, you could see it is a test. So what does it test? It tests the proficiency of the of our English. Okay, it tests the proficiency of the English language. So now we can have more idea about why do we need IELTS and what is the purpose of having IELTS. And moving on to the next slide, where we have this question that says that, you know, the first one, it's about the global recognition. So I'm sure that every one of us understand the importance of English. It's been an international language, it's been a global language, and depending upon the mastery of your language is where you arrive at your recognition. So in order to require a global recognition, your proficiency in the language is mandatory. So now assessing your English level. So now this IELTS, the purpose of IELTS is mainly to assess about the level of your language, you know, how proficient you are. So now the main purpose is when you are living in the midst of native speakers, are you able to read? Are you able to speak? Are you able to write? Are you able to understand English in a better form, in a better way? So that is the assessing of the English level. So you can have a self-assessment about where your proficiency lies. So this IELTS plays a predominant role in making you assess your English level. And the main reason why IELTS has become so popular nowadays is because of the future aspirations. You know, and the two main reasons for, or the two main modules IELTS is being designed upon. One is, we call it as IELTS Academic. So those who have a great aspiration to study in abroad, you know, they choose what you call as IELTS Academic. And for those who have a great aspiration to work in abroad, they go on for IELTS General Training. We call it a GT, General Training. So there is not much vast difference between these two, but we do have it. In due course of time, our trainers will be explaining you on this. And there are countries, English speaking countries like US, UK, New Zealand, Australia. These countries, they demand the people who are planning to migrate, they demand them to have the IELTS score. You know, that is something very mandatory that they would like to have. And since I have explained you about the need for the English proficiency, about what is being needed to work in abroad, the native speakers, to work with the native speakers, the IELTS training is the best thing for you to boost your English proficiency. Okay, then moving on to the next slide where I could answer your next question. This is a very important thing that you need to know about the form of IELTS. Now, as I told you before, it offers two modules, IELTS Academic and IELTS General Training. So now, these two modules, as I told you before, it's depending on your aspirations, depending on your expectations is where we try to choose it, okay, choose your module on. And now, most important thing, people who are actually dealing with the language, they understand this, that English is all about the skills. Now, you say it is about listening, speaking, reading, and writing. That these are the 4 skills that is mandatory. So our proficiency of the language actually matters in the way how proficient we are in the skills. And it is integrated. It's not about one skill as being good and other it isn't. So yeah, mutual one and integration of these 4 skills is very important, and IELTS do this purpose. They test you based on your listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And there is one very interesting thing that some of you must be aware of this. The IELTS is actually based on the band score. That's the outcome. You're being assessed on the band score or the bandwidth, which starts from 1 to 9. And it's something very interesting to say that there is nothing called as pass or fail in the test. No, there's nothing called as pass or fail. It's only about your bandwidth. Depending on the band you are being assessed, your proficiency is being assessed. So if you get a band of 9, that is the maximum one, then it means you are an expert. It means you can probably, you can survive in the native land, the native speaker, among the native speakers. And if your band is somewhere around 1, it means your proficiency is very low. And there are around more than 10,000 organizations who are looking forward for the IELTS certification. So each and every organization, they do have their own criteria, their own requirement. So there are organizations who ask for a bandwidth of 9 or 7 or 8. It depends on the organization, or depends on the if you are going on for IELTS general training. It depends on the kind of the scope of work that you are trying to employ it. So it all depends on the employer. But it's very important. The most ideal one is something between band 6 to 9. Whenever you try to hit at a score of 7 and 8, it is the most accepted one. The most accepted one. And now quickly, I would just like to take you people into the time proportion about the exam, which you can see it on the screen. So when I talk about listening, it has been 40 minutes. Okay, during the exam, your listening skill is being tested for 40 minutes, and your reading skill is for 60 minutes. Your writing is for 60 minutes. It is very interesting to know that these 3 components, listening, reading, and writing, they are done together, probably on the same day. Whereas speaking is done the later part of the day, or after a few days. But speaking is done as a different component, as a separate one, so which goes on for 15 minutes. To give you details about each and everything, I hope the trainers will be talking to you in detail about this. So now we have our wonderful trainers over here who will be giving you a very brief introduction into each and every skill. Now let me have the pleasure of inviting Hussain sir to talk about the listening skill. So over to you.
Thank you very much, Rahul sir. Yeah, I'll be just briefing you about listening skills. So we all know that how important is listening. Though all the skills are very important. So, for example, when you talk about, even our mother tongue, which we learn, we start with listening. So the speaking and the other things, other skills come later. So even they say it starts from the mother's womb. Yeah. So we listen to what our mother speaks, right? That is also a reflection, and there's a response. That's what they say about the listening skill. So as far as listening is concerned, if we want to be very good at speaking or even writing, the pronunciation, which will be taken care by Madam Aruna or Rahul sir, but then still it's what how we're going to do is we will play different accents, because from the exam point of view, from the test point of view, you will have different accents. It can be Canadian, it can be American, or it can be British. So we will play all the accents for practice, so that you may be familiar or acquainted to all sorts of accents. So you shouldn't be surprised or taken aback when during the test, what if for example, if you go with one particular accent and if another accent is being played, then it will be really, really difficult for you. So that's what listening is. So we will play n number of listening, be it podcasts or any sorts of IELTS exams or tests, practice tests will be conducted. So you will be keeping on listening to the accents, and also a kind of a test where it will be it talks about distractors. It's a very important thing. You will be, I'm extremely sorry, I haven't mentioned that. Rahul was telling about mentioning that particular example, right? For example, there'll be questions asked and there'll be a small confusion in that. For example, the time is one thing, right? If it is the person says, what time is it now? And what time are you going to enter? There will be a difference. So you got to be very, clear. You got to be very careful. And that's the reason you've got to be an active listener, right? To understand what exactly the test is about. This is what, I mean, as far as listening is concerned, you've got to be a very active listener and shouldn't get distracted, when you hear different, not the voices, but the timing, or even, for example, even when a room is booked, they say one room is available and they mention the number, but then they say it's not available. They go for another number. So you got to be careful which number it is, right? This is what, as far as listening skills are concerned. And yeah, we can. Do you want me to continue with the, okay, speaking skills? Yeah.
Sure, sir. Good evening.
Madam. Okay.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir. Good evening, participants. Good to see some new, old faces and new ones also. And so basically speaking skills. So I'm going to talk about speaking skills, how it is necessary. So as all of us, we come from the English literature and language background. So we know when we talk about the English language, we know about the 4 skills, LSRW. So as Hussain sir has spoken about the listening skills, so I would like to just throw some light on the speaking skills and how we at Aura, we are going to train you for the speaking skills. So first I will be talking about how you will be assessed. Normally when we talk about speaking skills, we have certain criteria. Almost all the examinations, be it the OET, Occupational English Test, or be it the IELTS or the TOEFL or any of the examinations, you have certain criteria under which the examiner will actually assess you. So we'll have to be very clear with that. So here at Aura, definitely these are some of the criteria that they will be looking out for, whether the candidate is speaking very clearly. And how fluent are you with your English? How fluent are you with the language? If a topic is being given to you, are you able to talk on the particular topic very fluently? And then about your vocabulary, which is the most important one. So how you stand out when you compare yourself, when there are around 10 people, and how are you going to stand out uniquely by using a different vocabulary and making sure that that is comprehensible to everyone also. Usage of grammar, yes, that will also be made useful. It should be there. The grammar usage should be very correct. And then the practicing. So if you ask the batch, so definitely we are going to have it as, it will not be on a one-on-one, it will not be a one-way communication. Definitely it's going to be a communicative way where we have the interaction of the candidates and with the trainers. So definitely there will be a lot of practicing, and as I said, it will definitely upscale your language skills. So before that, if you see here in Aura, how we are going to practice it is we try to use a lot of speaking activities. We make sure you come out with a person who doesn't use a lot of fillers, or you don't have any fillers, or you don't use too much of linkers and all those. So there are certain things. I know all of you do speak very good English, but maybe here and there you might have certain things which you will have to tackle on. So those areas, definitely we at Aura, we will train you and make sure that you get a very good score band for IELTS. So the test duration, as Vijay Kumar sir and Rahul has actually told you about the test duration, speaking test is only for a maximum of 14 minutes. 15 minutes to the maximum. So it is for both the academic and for the general training. As I said, even if you're going in for the general training, that is, even if you're going in for a work and you're taking up the IELTS, or if you're going in for the academics, that is, if you're going to go in for a work studies and you're going to take up the academics, the speaking test is going to be only for 15 minutes. So I'm just going to give you how we're going to be assessed, and then I'll pass it down to the next. So this will be a pattern for your assessment. Your speaking test is going to be conducted for 15 minutes, and that 15 minutes in what way, how many parts is it going to be conducted in? So it will be conducted in 3 parts. So there are 3 parts in your speaking test. So the first one is, it will be taking place for 4 to 5 minutes, where it is just an introduction and interview. So that's called the introduction and interview, where the examiner will introduce himself and he will require you to introduce yourself also in the same way. And then after your introduction, there'll be some general questions, maybe on your family, on your work, on your interest, your hobbies, all these. So all this will be just like a basic introduction and an interview session, which will go on for 4 to 5 minutes. So that will be your first part of your speaking assessment. The second part of your speaking assessment will be your individual long term, meaning that will again go on to 3 to 4 minutes, where the examiner can give you a task card, or it can be called as a cue card. So it will have some points, it will have a topic, it will have some pointers below. So by using all those pointers, you can actually enable and you can actually think over what you need to talk, and you will definitely be given a minute's time to prepare. You will be given a pen and pencil to make some notes, and then you will be required to talk on this particular topic. Exactly like extempore. Extempore is like on the spot you'll have to start, but here you do have at least a minute's time to prepare, and then you will talk. And then after you completing with your speech, the examiner will be asking you further questions again based on those particular topic, on that particular topic. So, and the last part, that is the third part of your speaking skill, would be a two-way discussion, which will take place again for 4 to 5 minutes. Here, it is just an extension of whatever you had done in your second part. So, for example, if it was in the second part, you had to talk about music. Maybe that 1 minute of preparation on the topic music, you would have had very minor points or informations to give, very little informations to give. But here again, there will be further questions which will probe you to think more, to give out more ideas, or to discuss on more general ideas and thoughts. Okay, so that will be the entire process for your speaking skills. So this is how the speaking skill will actually take place. So it'll be basically, it'll be in 3 parts. So we at Aura will definitely make sure that you come out with flying colors. You definitely, you will get a high score band. So it's only with practice that it comes. Normally, yes, with every day, with a lot of practice, it does help us a lot. So hoping to see many at us, and I would like to give the stage to Hussain sir to go ahead with the reading skills. Hussain sir?
Yeah, thank you very much, madam.
Sure.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, there's nothing to explain, but then listening, I mean, reading goes hand in hand with listening, because when you're reading, you come across words. So these words do come when you listen. You know, you come across plenty of words, especially the vocabulary which the other trainers will be handling. So you'll have, though it looks like there's plenty of time, but then reading paragraphs, it's not easy, and answering. So you got to scan it, you got to skim it, right? It's like fast reading, yeah. And it should be like, you should understand the meanings of the words. Okay, then you do the paraphrasing, which will help you answer the questions in a better manner, right? So understanding words, understanding sentences in a quick way, or as far as like, you shouldn't waste your time, and for that you need to read more. Before we go to the test, we'll also have that practice sessions, more of reading, like you will be given more of sessions, or more of time to read. So you can also practice this by reading more of newspapers or novels, or such or books, anything which will help you enhance your reading skills. So this is what as far as reading skills are concerned. So I'll just hand over to Madam Aruna to take over. Thank you.
Rahul?
Yeah. So thank you, Hussain sir, and thank you, Aruna ma'am, for taking us through a very brief introduction to these skills. So thank you for that. And my dear participants, I would like to give my presentation about the writing skill. So among the four skills, writing skill is one of the active skill that I'm sure that most of the participants must be aware of. So when it comes to writing skill, this is where so far I told you that there are two modules in IELTS. One is about IELTS academic and IELTS general training. But so far in all these skills, you don't find much a kind of deviation and difference between these two. But you find this certainly in writing, the way how it is being tested. So let me just give you a quick nutshell into it. And now when I'm talking about writing, you have two tasks. You're being assessed based on two tasks. So what is task one and what is task two? So task one is actually different for academic and general. Whereas task two remains the same for the academic as well as the general training. So what is the activity that is being given in moving on to the next slide, where you can see that task one, academic, you are being asked to interpret. Okay, interpretation is a very important thing in order to assess your reading skill. Now you are being given a kind of a graph or a diagram or a chart, and you are asked to interpret the data. You are being asked to interpret the information there. So you have to express it within 150 words. The word limit is very important when it comes to writing. And that is the main reason why I have highlighted it over here. And you could even see the difference between the word limits among the task one and task two. So now the same way how general is being differentiated. For task one, general, a kind of a problem or a situation is given to the participants, and you have to write and express your emotions, express your opinions in the form of a letter. Okay, so that's how your writing is being assessed. So now task two is quite different from task one, because task two, though it is common for academic and general, it's something very important that is given more importance compared to that of task one. In task two, even you are given a kind of a problem or a situation or a kind of an argument where you need to respond to your feelings and your emotions. But the difference is you are not expressing it through the format of a letter. Rather, you're doing it as in the form of short essay, okay, in the format of short essay. So, and you can talking about the word limit, so 250 words per task two, which means it has more weightage than task one. So I would even like to give my participants over here a kind of a rough calculation. And this, we do it intensively. When you're part of Aura, we will be training you about the time management. We'll be planning and training you how you need to go on with task one and task two. Because as I told you, your bandwidth in IELTS, it's not about that you score high in one skill and probably low in the other one. That's not considered together. So that's the reason I'm asking you people to focus on all the skills together. So now coming on to the next slide, where I will be explaining you about the most important points that is to be remembered when it comes to writing. So now, as I told you, the first important one is time management. I hope you'll remember for writing, I said it's around 60 minutes. Now, when I say 60 minutes, let me give a rough calculation to this. Since we give more weightage to task two, I want you people to consider that you plan it in such a way that you give 40 minutes for task two, and 20 minutes for task one. So that's the best way that you can plan your work. Because see, when it comes to IELTS, especially when it comes to writing, it is all about you plan your work. Okay, before you attempt your answer, you need to plan it. You need to have a rough plan in your mind about how you are going to deal with, how you are going to respond. And when I say you are going to plan it and then you have to work your plan, so that is very important. You need to execute it. So that's the reason I'm asking you to have a rough idea in your mind. So you say it's about 40 minutes for task two and 20 minutes for task one. And the second important thing that you need to remember is about the word limit. So now, I mentioned over there it's about 150 words for task 1 and 250 words for task 2. Yeah, some of you may have a question. So what happens if I'm going to write more or write less than the required word limit? You are being assessed. Since you are being assessed, there are chances for you to lose your your marks. That's the idea behind it. That's the reason we are being so specific on word limit. So few words then and there, it's fine. Whether you go plus or minus few words, it's fine. But so much of variation is not being accepted by IELTS. So coming on to this, my dear participants. Now I'll just give you a small rough plan about how to go on with your task 2 and task 1. Now I'm talking about the word limit. Now when I say when I said task 2 was about 250 words, just have a rough calculation. Every writing part, whether it was interpretation or whether it is about an essay, it's good that you split yourself into paragraphs. So it's good that you write about 5 paragraphs for 250 words. So it's each paragraph you write around 50 words. So 5 into 50, it's 250 words. I'm just giving you a rough idea on this. And now if you're talking about task 1, and you say that 3 paragraphs, each paragraph about 50 words, so 3 into 50, you get 150 words over there. So this is how you can mentally prepare yourself, and you can just plan about how to write your expected writing parts. And I'm sure that you all must be aware of the formats. We always go on with the introduction and the conclusion. So body part is where you can probably split them into paragraphs. And when you're talking about paragraphs, it is very, very important. You are not expected to write at a stretch. You have to split it into paragraphs. Now, in the process of splitting into paragraphs, I wanted to insist on this, that there is a kind of a style how a paragraph should be framed. To begin with, every paragraph should have a topic sentence. So what is a topic sentence? So any main point that you carry in the paragraph is called as a topic sentence. So when I say there is a topic sentence, when I say there is a main idea, with the main idea alone, I cannot make people understand what I'm trying to say. So what I need to do is I need to support my main idea. So when I make a topic sentence, I have to make supporting sentences. So supporting sentences could be kind of an example, or it could be about any real life situations, or it could be about any statistical informations, or it could be about any kind of graphical things. Anything is fine, but you have to support your information. That is very important. So once when you have your topic sentence, and then you make your supporting details, and finally is where you are going to talk about your concluding statement. Now, moving on to the last one that I just wanted to share with you, it's about the assessment criteria when it comes to writing. Is something very important. So we in Aura, we focus more on this. So we ensure that each and every person achieves at each and every criteria, so that at the end product, your work is perfect. Okay, that is what is most accepted one. So now coming on to the assessment criteria, you have 4 criteria being listed down. So one is about the task response. So how far you respond to the task. I hope you remember that I told you, you will be given a task 1 and task 2, and you're asked to respond to it. So how far you understand the task and how far you're able to fit into it, how far you're able to adapt to the task matters a lot. So that is taken into consideration. And second one, coherence and cohesion, something very, very important. To put in a very simple term, it's all about your organization of ideas. When you look into a question, when you want to attempt your writing, we do have a lot of ideas flowing into it, but doesn't mean that you can just pour out all your ideas into your writing part. You need to put it in a systematic and a sequential manner. It should be in organized style and manner. So organization of your ideas is very, very important. And vocabulary, I'm sure that Hussein spoke a lot about it. So vocabulary is very, very important when it comes to IELTS. It's about, when I say vocabulary, it's about the bank of the words that you have with you. So you're expected to have a more active vocabulary with you, so that you use different words it's more like a world of thesaurus. So where you can use more kind of different words for one particular situation. So this kind of variations is much needed. Your vocabulary is very important. And last but not the least, the grammar part. So we can never ever rule out grammar when we speak about language. Grammar is very important. When I'm talking about grammar, it's not about all the grammar items, but in particular, there are few grammar items which is very important that could be linked with your listening, speaking, reading, and writing skills. And I can promise all the participants over here that in AURA, as we have wonderful trainers, we are here to give you the best training in each and every skills and mold you the best to attend your IELTS exam. So before I end my presentation, I would like to give a kind of a motivational thought to all my participants over here. Please always believe when you are attending your IELTS exam, the most important thing that you need to know is never ever doubt your abilities. Okay, you have to believe in yourself. You have to trust in yourself. So never doubt your abilities even for a moment in life. You think that you can do it and you will do it. So that's a kind of the motivation that you need to have. And of course, all the trainers of our team are here to motivate you each and every moment in the life. So wish you good luck and all the best, my dear team. Over to Arna, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you. So with that, actually, we come to the end of all the 4 skills that we are going to focus at AURA. But this is based on, I'm just going to talk to you based on the responses that I have received, because many of your responses that you have put up, what was your expectations out of this course that you wanted from AURA? Many has asked that you want to go abroad, you just want to know how the course gets, or you want to know how the speaking skill is assessed or how the test goes. You wanted to have a short-term course or a fast-track course. So here at AURA, we are giving trainings. We are helping you come out with flying colors. If you want a fast-track course, if you want a course which within a short span, within a month or 2 months span, you can definitely get back to us. Drop us a mail at alpha@alpharesearchersacademy.com. I'll definitely post it in the chat box. So you can drop us a mail or you can call us also, and we'll definitely make sure we fine tune it according to the your requirements also. The other one, as I said, Dr. Vijay Kumar, as initially he also mentioned that we do have both platforms, be it online or offline. So offline we conduct it with, at Gudvanjari we have the STEPS Educational Center, and online also we do have our trainers. So there are, just a rough thing, there are 2 types of tests that you can actually take. So one is a computer-based test and a paper-based test. So there are 2 types that any candidate can actually take. So there is nothing different between both tests. There's nothing different. So all the LSRW, all the 4 skills will be assessed. So whereas when you take the computer-based test and the paper-based test, the listening, reading, and writing will be conducted online or as a paper-based. But whereas the speaking skill will be conducted face-to-face for both the tests. So you don't have to worry whether it's going to be, since I'm going to take a computer-based test, is it going to have a impact on my result or nothing like that. Both are allowed. Okay. So in the results, if you see again, if you're going to take a computer-based test, you will receive your results within a week's time. If it's a paper-based test, within 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, you'll be receiving your results. And availability. If you want to go in for a computer test, computer-based IELTS test, then that is available actually 5 days a week. It's available. And if you are going to go in for a paper-based test, you do have at least 40 tests per year. That is, it happens on a Thursday and Saturday. So this computer-based and paper-based is not the one that we are going to give it. But I'm telling you on a general basis, if you're going to go in for an IELTS test, sit for an IELTS test, these are the types of tests that you can have. So definitely keeping all these things in mind, we are also going to train you at AURA for all. Make sure that you get enhanced in all your skills, be it listening, reading, writing, speaking, everything, and enhance and upskill your language skills. So before I just ask for some of the queries from your end, I would just like to invite the proprietor, Steps Educational Center, Mr. Gunnar, to just say the few words. So you're muted. Yes, sir.
And I'm Gunashekaran, head of Steps Education Center, and it is our great privilege and big honor to get collaborated with Alpha Researchers Academy. These eminent English professionals are the ones who are all going to take us into the world of English, and after that we are going to go travel around the world using their English. So it is, again I say, and we are having 2 centers over here. We are mainly for offline. In Guduvanjeri, in prime area, we are having 1 center, and another one at Tailavaram, which is very near to SRM University. So those who are all in this area shall come to this center for offline classes to get trained from these eminent English professionals. And again, it's a great honor to work with this elite group, and my special thanks to my childhood friend Dr. Vijay Kumar in taking this collaboration into his mind and making this to happen, and it's great. And at last, I would like to thank all the invitees who have come, who have not only come after my invitation, but also from our Alpha Researchers Academy's invitation. That's it. See you all in my offline classes and also in online classes too.
Thank
you
you.
all.
Thank you, sir. So yes, participants, so if you have any queries, you have any doubts, you can definitely ask us now. You can unmute and ask us. We'll definitely be available to, we'll be happy to answer you, any of your queries. Any queries? Any questions? Any doubts? Anything? Yes, ma'am.
This online course will be during daytime or during evening time, because those who are working cannot attend it during daytime. No?
Yes, ma'am. So most probably we'll make sure that it caters to everyone's needs. So we'll look into what, suppose if we have like 10 people in a batch, if they want it during the daytime, we'll have that batch during the daytime with the availability of the trainers. Otherwise, we'll have it during the evening sessions, ma'am, only. Most probably we'll cater to the candidates' requirements only. So we'll definitely have it towards the evening, maybe like 6:30 onwards, when you can actually join also. Or it could be a weekend classes or the weekdays.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Sure.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, ma'am. It was a wonderful session, informative. Will the module be different for each and every individual, or the purpose? Am I making sense?
You're asking about if the module for each and every
For example, I'm applying for hotel management job.
Okay.
So will my module be different from engineering background or for medical background, something like that? The teaching module, I mean.
Yes, Rahul.
Please, sir.
Yeah, sir, thank you for raising up your question, sir. But I just like to tell you very clearly that there is only 2 modules. One is about IELTS academic and IELTS central training. So if you are looking for a job in abroad, obviously you're only going to take up your IELTS central training. So it is not varied depending on the job that you're planning to take. It is only a kind of a general training. And the purpose of this general training is very simple. It's just to ensure that you're competent enough to survive in the English-speaking countries. So it's just the same, sir. When you say general training, it's just the same. Thank you.
Okay. Can I have one more doubt clarified?
Sure, sir.
Please.
Yeah. I have heard, I don't know how far it's true, but the certain band and certain exam will last for only few months. For example, if I have to go for any country within 6 months, only then I can take the exam. Is it true, or can you
Uh,
explain about that?
Yes, sir, it is. Actually, it depends upon the countries. Two things. It depends upon the countries, and it depends upon the organization. So how they accept it. So it has not been a fixed one, as you said. And we can't say it's even a lifetime thing. So it's not a fixed one. But it depends on the country or depends on the organization where you're opting to.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Any other doubts, participants? You can clarify any of your doubts here, so we'll be happy to answer you. No.
Yes, in case they have any other doubts, maybe they can just mail us later. We can specifically require, reply to them.
Sure.
Good evening, madam.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. Good evening to everyone. It was a wonderful session, ma'am. My question is, how long this course will be, ma'am? Duration. I just want to know the period of time.
Okay, ma'am, the duration of the course as of now, like we still need how many participants? Normally, if you're going to go in for a fast track, it depends upon when are you going to take up your test. Suppose if you're going to take up the test within a month's time, then you might need a very fast track course where you need to have an extensive training. So it depends upon your availability time. So we'll make sure we cater to that particular need, ma'am. So when are you planning to take it, ma'am?
At any time when you start, ma'am.
No, I'm asking like when are you planning to take up your IELTS exam?
Probably in the next month.
Okay, so that means you might be in a need of a fast track course where you definitely need to have an extensive training. So maybe for the others, if they're going to have like at least 2 hours per week or 3 hours per week, you might need a training which is actually little extensive because you're going to take it in in a month's time. So basically we'll have to, so you can just drop in a mail to us. We'll sort it out. We'll make sure we can do some alterations. We'll see how we can actually get through it, ma'am.
Okay, I would just like to add on to this.
Yes, sir. Yes, Rahul.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, participants, I just want you to understand it very clearly. What is being done in this academy or in any other academies for the matter, we only train people for appearing for IELTS exam. So for writing the exam, you have to contact British Council and you have to book your seat over there. So it's about your priority. When you start booking your ticket, they give you a kind of a time schedule and things like that. So only based on that you can plan about when you're going to appear for the exam. But roughly speaking, within a month or maybe you can be proficient in it, and it also depends, as ma'am said, it is more subjective. And it varies between people, person to person. So it is being very subjective. Though we give a kind of a speculation of the time saying, oh, this is the time limit, but apart from that, there are people who need more level of training and there are people who are much equipped for that one. So that differs. But it mainly the way how you fix your or book your seat in the British Council. That is very, very important. So only the training session has been done here. So for writing an exam, you have to appear in the British Council and you have to book your ticket over there. And if you are part of our in the course of training, we will do that for you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Rahul.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. I have posted the mail on chat box. If you have any queries also, you can definitely drop us a mail. So please make a note of the mail ID. Yes, Vijay sir?
By the way, I'm also parallel in another meeting. So we can wind up forward here.
Okay, I have one. Sabrina, thank you. Can you explain the fee structure for the training? Definitely, Ms. Sabrina, we'll just drop us a mail. We'll let you know. So once we get if you drop us a mail, you can contact us personally. We'll let you know. Sure. Feedback form, a minute. I'll just give you the feedback form. Any other queries, you can just let me know.
Yes, sir. Shall we? Okay. Yes, Aruna?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So we can formally wind up. So before we wind up, I would just like to profoundly thank all the participants for making it today. And I'm sure this session would have been extremely useful to you. And I also extend profound thanks to STEPS Academy for being an integral part of us. Most importantly, just would like to add on to this excellent training session, only one more point. It's not that people who would like to go abroad should take IELTS. If you generally would like to take your competency to the next level, would like to enhance your speaking skills, then definitely you can embrace this opportunity. So it's not necessarily for people who would like to go abroad. So anybody who are interested in trying to jack up your standards of English can really take up this course, as our trainer said. So it's been an excellent session. I would like to thank Rahul for this comprehensive overview of what constitute IELTS and why you should take IELTS, and Aruna for the calibrated and fine research analysis of some of the important ambits of IELTS program, as well as Hussein for that wonderful trenchant analysis. So I feel that it would have been extremely useful to all of you, and most importantly, we are looking forward to meet you and give you courses as per your requirement. So as Aruna ma'am said, you can please send your queries and your requirements. We will all cater to your needs. So once again, I would like to profoundly thank all of you for making it today on this fine Saturday evening. So looking forward to your future collaborations and associations. Thank you, everybody. Over to you, Aruna.
Yes, sir. Yes, participants, I'm just posting the feedback form on the chat box. So on behalf of Alpha Researchers, Alpha Universal Researchers Academy and STEPS Educational Center, I give my heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you who have attended this session, and my thanks to Mr. Rahul, Mr. Gunam, Mr. Hussain sir, Dr. Vijay Kumar, and everyone. And have a good evening. Thank you so much for attending our sessions. Thank you. Thank you, Hussain sir. Thank you.